Good afternoon, yogis. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for the Greenwin Group Suite Events for having me. For those of you who had a long weekend, I hope that you enjoyed it. And for those of you who were celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope that you enjoyed some mini celebrations this year. And speaking of Thanksgiving, I thought in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we would practice some gratitude, creating a circuitry of gratitude within our bodies and in our minds and in our hearts really helps to shift us into a state of seeing what's around us, the good and the gifts and what's working. Because it is so easy, especially right now, to see all that is not working, all that is harmful, all that is being destroyed, all that unrest. And so taking a moment to recognize the gifts in your life, and maybe it is not the obvious gifts, but maybe the result of something happened that perhaps you didn't perceive as a gift, but in the end, it redirected you for somewhere that you are in your life, and you can look back in retrospect and say, maybe it's a gift. So in our meditation today, we're going to bring in some gratitude. And then I thought we would do some twists today. We'll do some standing work, and I'm going to work into some twists. So twists essentially help us you can think about twists, twisting postures as wringing out the body of toxins and what doesn't serve us. And for those of you who indulged and were super festive, you might really enjoy that. But I think any moment that we take during our day to think about and feel that we can, or at least prescribe to let go of something that's not serving us, can again layer on to the gratitude of shifting our mindset into a place that where we are more clear and we become more resourceful and more grounded. So all that being said, take a moment to ground yourself in a comfortable cross-legged position. I'm sitting in the middle of my mat with a blanket. It just helps to allow your pelvic bowl, you can think about the pelvis like a bowl, just tipping forward and giving your thigh bones a little bit more space. And you can sit any which way that's comfortable. For those of you who have any mobility issues, then feel free to sit in a chair. And you can do a lot of this class. You just have to play with the poses and see what you can do and accommodate. So take a moment to just ground yourself. Just feel your body. And when it feels good, it feels safe, it feels okay for you, you can close your eyes. And I'm sure I've said this before. I often say it. Sometimes closing the eyes and just being with our thoughts and going inward is harder than any pose or any sequence that we can do. So any preconceived notions that you have of meditation, see if we can just put them on the shelf and just allow ourselves to be here with the nature of our mind, with the thoughts coming in and with the thoughts going out. Because that is the mind. And even though we take these mental field trips to wherever our narratives take us, and the train to the past and the train to the future, we then remember that we can come back to this moment, because it is here in this moment that is here. This is what we have. This is where we are. And so a meditation practice and becoming mindful can really help to bring us back here. And once we find a little bit of clarity, then we can think about where we want to go and what we want to do. But it's hard to do that when we're in a state of overwhelm and not in the present. So feel your body right here. And if you're feeling pain or strong sensations, then just acknowledge them. Don't ignore them. Bring them into this experience. And the bridge to the moment is indeed the breath. So take that next inhale and use your imagination to allow that breath to pour into the body from the top of the head all the way down to the base of your spine. So lower back, a little bit lower. And as you exhale, imagine the breath going all the way back up, ascending all the way out through the top of the head and out. And let any narrative or story that you're telling yourself that's perhaps not true or old to ride with that breath. And just continue to cultivate just a deep breath. And let the mind wander, because it will, and then kindly bring it back. And then we're going to bring our palms together and thumbs to our heart space. And as we bow our heads here, I want you to just note 3 things that you are grateful for. And they don't have to be obvious. They can be any gifts that you deem important right now. Whatever that is to you. Maybe it's the opportunity to practice yoga in the middle of the day. Maybe it's your health, no small thing. Your vocation, your job, your family. Maybe it's your cup of coffee, right? Just 3 things that you are grateful for. The sunshine. And breathe that into your body. And just notice the feelings that arise from just feeling gratitude, just feeling thankful. Oh, I'm so lucky to have some sunshine today, to feel the sun on my face. That was a good cup of coffee. It gave me a jolt that I needed. I'm so thankful that my kids are in school. Feel that and just notice how perhaps your mind shifts from overwhelm, what's not right, perhaps scarcity, to perhaps what's good, what's okay. It may not stay there, but just for the moment, experience the feelings, because it does wonders to our systems within. It calms us, it relaxes us, and changes our energy. Let's take one more breath here and feel gratitude for another moment. Softly open up your eyes and release your hands. Enjoy your class today. If you are in cross legs, just switch your legs out. I got a creaky floor, so gratitude for my space is what I'm going for right now. Take a deep breath here. Let's take our right hand to our left knee. Easy twist. So left hand behind the back. As your left shoulder opens up, try to keep your right hip exactly where it is, but then take your gaze over the left shoulder. Find a few breaths. So notice in the twists how we are purposefully almost cutting off the prana, the energy, and making it more challenging for ourselves to breathe. So it's your job to just focus on the breath. Focus on the moment. And then slowly come back to center. If you are on a prop like I am, let's move it off to the side. And I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. You're just going to release your legs out in front of you. Sit up really, really tall, long spine, and point your toes. So you're propping up onto the toes. Start to pull your belly button in. And then maybe lift your right leg only. Maybe your left leg will join. We call this boat pose. Extend your arms straight forward, lift up. If you need some more support, you can bring your hands here or behind your thighs, or maybe just keep switching out through the feet. Hold here, breathe in and out. Starting to activate the center of the body. So this also starts the detoxification process, breathing right into your organs. Take another breath. Let's recross the legs. So how do you know if you've already had your right in front of your left or left in front of the right? You probably came into a position that was more comfortable. Let's spin to the other side. So left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the back. Gaze over the right shoulder, sitting up tall. Try to even take your chest slightly more forward. Find a few deep breaths into the chest and into the belly. One more. And let's come back, and we're going to come into that boat pose again. And of course, I'm going to add on, right? So again, hands behind your thighs, lift up through the chest. And if you're on your chair, maybe try picking up a foot or two. See what that feels like. Good. Some of you, if it feels good, you can play with straightening your legs. Maybe the arms extend out. You decide. If you're feeling it here in your hip flexors like they're gripping, move more of your attention, use your imagination into the belly. Stay here. If you want to challenge yourself, lower the chest halfway down and hold here just for 3 breaths. 3. Relax your shoulders. 2. And 1. Coming all the way up. Let's go over to our hands and knees. Okay. I'm going to spin this way. And we're just going to do a few spinal flexes and extension, meaning we're just going to get some movement to the spine. So drop your belly, looking up, opening through the heart, and then exhale, rounding through the back. 2 more like that, spreading through the fingers as you look up, heart center open. Exhale, round. 1 more. And exhale. From here, as you look forward, you're just going to extend your left leg straight back, right? Sometimes we usually go for the right, right? But just extend your left leg back. Hold it here for a moment. Take 2 breaths. Pull the front of the body up. And then bring your right palm more into center as you spin that left heel in and down and start to reach your left arm all the way up to the sky. Good. So it's right hand to left fingertips, 1 straight line. My left foot is solid here. Take another inhale. Exhale, left arm all the way up and over. Let's take a side body stretch. So just notice, start to notice and observe how you feel just by breathing deeper, just by slowing down, just by stretching and releasing some of that debris in the body. Let's take another inhale. Exhale. Okay, I'm going to give you a complicated move here. You're going to bring your left hand down. You're going to start to walk your hands to the left. As you do, you're going to just take your right foot, swivel it out to the right, and you're going to bend your left knee. My left toes are pointed to the back of my mat here. And then lots of options here. You can bring your left fingertips to the inside of your left foot and start to reach your right arm up, or take it all the way over. You can also bring your left hand onto a block or a book. So we're getting a little bit deeper into, it's called the hip crest, right? That little pointy part of the hip right at the top, the hip crest. Good. Let's stay here 2 more breaths. Just working it all out on both sides of the body. Last inhale. And exhale. Bring your right hand down. And from here, you're just going to frame your left foot. Step your left knee back. You're going to curl your toes under, and you're going to start to come into a downward facing dog. Start to breathe here. So lifting up through your hips. If your shoulders are really tight, take a bend in the knees, melt the chest, let the head go. 2 more breaths. And then you're going to start to roll your shoulders forward over the wrists as you drop the knees. Keep your toes curled under so you can lower onto your belly and to your chest with control. From here, palms down, point your toes, roll your shoulders up and back as you lift your chest any amount. And then lower. You don't want to feel any pain here in your lower back. This is a heart opener. Do that again. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale, lower. You're going to move into that child's pose, so hips back to the heels. 1 breath here. And then come all the way back up, hands and knees. Let's do that whole sequence again. We're going to inhale, look up, belly drops. Exhale, round through the back, let the head go. 2 more. Send the heart center forward. Feel the shoulders move away from the ears. And then exhale, actively pull the ears towards your skull. 1 more. Speaking of skulls, I'm starting to see quite a lot on front lawns and Halloween decorations. And then inhale, look forward, extending your right leg straight back. So just getting this little hamstring stretch. Taking 2 breaths here. Now notice if your belly's just kind of sinking. You want to stay aware of the front body, so lift it up. Take another inhale. And then you're going to pivot that right heel in. Move your left palm a little more into center and then start to reach the right arm up. So from your left hand to the right fingertips is one long line now. Feel your wings expand. Notice if all your weight is dropping on that left hand. See if you can reach through the right fingertips just as actively. Then start to take the right arm all the way up and over. You can let the head tip back. Find a few breaths. Right? If you're in a chair and you're seated, these side bends are so great. All right, here comes that complicated cue, okay? Because there's a little bit of fancy footwork here. Take 1 more breath, I know, really early on in the practice. And then exhale, right hand comes down. So as your hands start to walk to the right, you're just gonna pivot your left knee in, or your left foot in, and I'm gonna spin my right toes out. I'm gonna start to walk my right hand as I bend my right knee to the inside of the right foot, left arm up and over. So we're going deeper into that hip crest. That's it. So just opening up through the heart. I like to look up as well. So it's not just about opening up the chest. If it's okay with your neck, follow your gaze to your hand. And then if that feels good, take your left arm all the way up and over. The palm can go flat or stay on the fingertips. You want to soften through the shoulders. We're just here for a few more breaths, and then we'll get into a bit of a flow. One more. Good. Left hand down. Take the right knee back, and let's come into that downward dog again. So a downward dog needs to start with a strong foundation, a strong base. So really spread through the fingers. And as you spread through the fingers, you want to take up as much of the floor as you can. Maybe slightly turn the hands out. So not like this, but just a little bit. And see if that helps to open up your shoulders a little bit more. So let's meet back in downward dog. If you're feeling all that weight dump into the shoulders and your chest is forward, think about pushing the chest back and pulling it back, pulling your hips back. Take 2 breaths. Inhale. There's a point where you let go of all the cues that I'm telling you and just find your breath and just enjoy. And then start to walk your feet all the way up to your hands. As your feet approach the top of the mat, take a little bend in the knees and fold. From here, roll it all the way up to stand. Good. Let's take a few shoulder rolls back. And then if it's okay with your low back, you're going to bring your big toes together. If you feel that makes your lower back really tight, then you can keep your feet hip distance apart for this next sequence, okay? But you decide. So you're going to take a deep breath here. Exhale, palms together. Let's reconnect with that gratitude, okay? Keep threading it throughout the practice. You're going to take one more breath. And then exhale, you're going to slowly find a chair pose. So feel as if you are pulling way back into your couch, into your chair. Palms at the heart center. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, you're just going to take your left elbow. Maybe it's just going to touch the outside of your thigh, or maybe it's going to hook to the outside of your thigh. Palms together, or you can create a fist with this left hand. Right palm pushes on top. Spin the chest open. Hold here for 3 breaths. All right, so here's a deeper twist. See if you can pull the right hip back. Getting right into our organs a little bit more. One more breath here. Very nice. Pull the chest back to center. Keep the bend in the knees. Fold forward. We're going to inhale. Bring your hands to the shins. Bend your knees, step your left foot way back to a long lunge. You're going to release your left knee, release your left toes. Walk your hands up that right thigh. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Arms reach up to the sky here. Good. So reaching up, you can interlace your fingers, bring the palms together, or keep them apart. If it's too much on your shoulders, keep them apart. See if you can look up. Hold it here. 2 breaths before we move into the second part of this lunge. 1 breath. Palms back together. We just did this, so we're going to build on it. Take your left upper arm again. Maybe you just place it on the outside of the right thigh. Maybe you hook it and go deeper. Palms at the heart center. So you might have to just kind of take the left side of the body, twist it into the right thigh. If you want to keep building on this, curl your back toes under, maybe lift your back knee, but not necessary. You can get so much out of keeping the back knee down. Good. 2 more breaths. Good. Try to smile too. That helps, right? 1 more breath. Beautiful. Both hands down, make your way back to downward facing dog. Yeah. Inhale, slowly roll forward to your plank. Drop the knees, bend the elbows, lower down. Find a cobra, point your toes. Roll your shoulders up and back as you breathe in, exhale, release. Curl your toes under, move through the child's pose to downward facing dog. You're going to take 3 breaths here. And if this is too much here in your downward dog, just stay in your child's pose. Really honor where you're at today. Just feel your breath, right? Keep pressing your hands into the mat to lift your hips up. This is a full back body stretch, right? Into the backs of the legs, into the back body. Take 1 more breath. Good. So before we do the other side, we're going to do 1 more stretch here. You're going to step your right foot up between your hands and then crawl both hands to the inside of the right foot as you walk your hands halfway down your mat. You're going to rise up to the fingertips, look forward at me at the screen. Hello. And then exhale, start to walk your hands down as you pull your chest through the legs. So I'll just do a side view here. Yeah. And if your upper body's just kind of hanging here and you're rounding your back and your hands are hanging, you're not going to be doing a lot for yourself. So you have to bend the knees here, try to find a long spine, and then you can round. But try not to hang. If you need to, you bring the floor to you. Okay. A few more breaths here. You should be getting here into the hamstrings. You can bring your hands to the ankles, walk your hands through anywhere where you're going to get that support and get into the back of the legs a little bit deeper than from our downward dog. We're here for another breath. Good. Okay, so inhale, you're going to look up. I'm just going to add one more twist before we do that whole sequence on the other side. Bring your left hand underneath your heart, right hand to your low back, twist the body to the right fingertips up. So we kind of did this in that warm up, right? Our legs were different. They were in a different formation, but same kind of thing, right? Palm to palm, one long line, look up. One more breath. Let's switch. Replace your left palm with your right palm, right? So for a moment, put that left hand on your low back. The reason I say that is to find these neutral hips. So then you can move from your mid back, not your low back. Look up at your left hand. One side's always going to feel a little bit tighter. That's okay. You can bend the knees here. And if you need to take 18 blocks to bring your hand down onto the blocks so you can do this, take 18 blocks, right? Yoga is a lot like Lego. You keep building to accommodate what it is you want to build here. One more breath. Keep adding on. Good. Left hand comes down. Removing your block or your props or whatever. Walk your hands over to the right. And then you're going to step your left foot up to meet the right, hands to shins. Inhale, look up. And then fold into the legs. Good. From here, roll it all the way up. Big shoulder roll at the top. All right, let's do most of that sequence on the other side. So if it was okay in your chair pose with big toes together, bring them back. Otherwise, take your feet hips distance apart. You want your low back to feel free and open. So standing up tall, let's find our chair first. Drop the hips, bend the knees, pull back. You want to feel your glutes turn on here. Palms together, get really, really deep, and then take your right elbow to the outside of your left leg or just on top, but try to spin the chest. So if you need to, maybe that right fist is down, lifting the right chest up as the left palm presses down. Lots of left and right, right? Sometimes it's just feeling your way there. Take another breath for me. So good. Fold all the way over the legs. Bring the hands to the shins, look up. Bend your knees, step your right foot back. Long lunge, releasing your right knee, right toes. If you have knee issues, always take a blanket or some padding under. You can even fold over the side of your mat. Walk your hands up your left thigh, and then let's start to build it into our low lunge. So if you're really slinky in this pose and you feel it in your low back, you're going too deep. You want to push through that front foot so you engage your hamstring here, and then you're building muscle rather than just putting pressure on your low back. So really find a lift here in the chest too. 3 more breaths. The shoulders are now your earrings. Drop them, take them off. 1 more inhale here. And exhale, palms together. Let's repeat that twist. So right elbow is going to start to twist over to the left thigh. So you may hook. Otherwise, it may sit on the thigh. Palms together. The crown of the head is going forward. You might feel like you want to curl the spine. Don't curl the spine. Extend through the crown of the head. If you want to go deeper, curl the back toes under. Maybe lift your back knee. Hold it here. Breath in and breath out. Good. Few more breaths. Hope you're feeling a little clearer already. 1 more breath. Both hands down. Make your way back to your downward facing dog. Stay here or come forward to your plank and flow with me. Drop the knees. Keep your toes curled under as you take your chest forward. Bend your elbows and lower. Point your toes, find a cobra. And release. Let's move into a child's pose. And let's hold here. One more breath. Good. Let's lift up to hands and knees. Move your hips off to one side. And let's extend our legs straight out in front of us. Big toes together. Now, this is another opportunity. If you found that you liked sitting on a blanket in our meditation and you enjoy elevating your hips because you feel a difference in your hips, then any of these seated postures, please do that. Just elevate your hips with a little blanket or towel. You can also bend the knees a little bit, get longer in the spine. Inhale, lengthen, lift up through the chest. And then exhale, start to fold forward towards your ankles or the feet. Lengthen the chest forward and then slowly bow in. If you want, you can take the gaze forward. You can feel a little bit of a stretch in your upper back, right? Again, this is one of those poses that if you're just rounding through the back and hanging here, you're not doing a lot for your spine. So I'd rather your knees be really bent and you practice a long spine here. You're going to do way more for your body than just letting it hang here, okay? So you got to get honest about what's happening, right? Not because something's harder, but because it benefits you. Let's take another breath in. And out. Okay. Almost there. Let's bend our left knee. We're going to start with our left knee. And so as I bend my left knee, what I'm doing here is I'm going to close off this knee joint, meaning I'm not going to move this leg over here from the knee. I'm going to move my whole left leg as one piece, okay? So I'm going to take my left ankle, cross it over my right thigh. So I'm going to give you lots of options here. If you're seated, this is another good one for you. Both of these are good for you. So option one is you're sitting right here, okay? Option two is maybe you're folding towards this right leg. And if you think, whoa, that's so crazy, right? Because it is a little bit, right? You can bring your hands behind you and start to bend the right knee, but try not to lose yourself in your shoulders. Really lift up. So now we're getting into this outer left hip, okay? So just depending on what you need, go there. One other option, if all of this seems impossible, come down to your back for the thread the needle. It's all the same shape. We're getting into the same body parts. Outer right hip, glute. So you decide on all the shapes. Right? There's no one shape. We're never trying to adapt the body to the pose. Always the pose to the body, because our body is ever changing due to age and circumstances and injuries and whatever. So we're accommodating, right? We're accommodating the pose to suit us and not the other way around. Wherever you are, take one more breath. I'm going to add another twist here. And then roll up. Now, if you're seated, you can do this from here. If with that right knee bent, if your right leg's extended, you can do this. And if you're lying down, you can do this. Bring your left hand to the sole of your left foot and twist. Yeah, it's a little bit deeper. So what it looks like if you're here, right? Press. What it looks like if you're here, right? You can press. You can even let these legs go to the left if you're here. Okay. One more breath wherever you are. Good job. And then slide that right leg straight. If you're on your back, let's roll up. And then left leg comes out. Let's shake it out. I'm going to spin to show you this side. Okay. So let's do the other side. So bend your right knee. So remember, we're going to move this right leg as one whole, not from the knee, okay? One whole from the hip. I'm rotating it around. My right ankle crosses over my left thigh. Now, you can stay seated here. Just sitting up tall here is a lot of work for the core. But if you want more out of it for your hip, maybe you bend your left knee, fold forward. You can also use your trusty strap. I don't know where my trusty strap is right now, right? Or fold forward here, seated, or roll onto your back and thread the needle. Lots of options. Again, getting into the outer right hip now. Now, you may feel it in other places in the body. We all feel things in different places, different kinds of sensations. You might feel it at the inside of the hip, more in the front of the hip flexor. That's okay too, right? Just focus on the breath and just move the breath to meet your body. Let's find 2 more breaths here. So if you're folded, you're going to lift all the way up. Right hand to the sole of the right foot, left hand behind the back, twist. Right? You know the other variations now, right? Right hand to the right foot, twist. If you're lying down here, you can just let that foot go and gaze to the right. Finding a deeper twist with our legs in a shape that helps to open up the muscles, the tissues of the hips. You decide what you want to do for the next 3 breaths, which variation serves you, right? And just to build on that, continuing to ask yourself that question in every pose, right? Can I breathe here? Do I feel elevated in this pose? Sometimes you may feel challenged, but feeling really defeated and deflated in a pose doesn't really serve us. Wherever you are, take your last breath in your twist. And then come back through center. Soles of the feet down. You can move your butt towards the heels and then lower yourself onto your back. Hug the knees to the chest. Now, before we go into our last twist, because I'm adding one more, bring the feet up to the sky, okay? If you want, you can also just bend the knees here, maybe take your legs in a 90-degree angle. We're just going to do a few little sit-ups, okay? Try to keep your navel in towards your belly button, towards the mat. You're going to interlace your fingers behind your head, and instead of lifting up from the head here, you want to lift your whole back body up. So feel the shoulder blades lift off the mat. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, lift elbows towards the knee. Lower halfway down. Do a few more. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Keep going. Maybe your legs are at 90 degrees. Lift and lower. Try to keep the legs still. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. If you feel it in your neck, relax your neck. 2 more wherever you are. Good. Cross your right thigh over your left thigh. Let both legs fall to the left. Right arm reaches to the right. Take your gaze to the right. So opposite direction from your legs. So you may feel now that your twist is moving into the lower part of your side body. One more breath. Back to center, left thigh over right, and then let both legs fall to the right. It's going to be a different opening on this side. Left arm reaches out. Just go as far as your body is allowing you, right? When we try to force, right, it's no good for us. Let the breath take you in. Let the body respond to the breath. We're here for another inhale. And exhale. Just begin to draw your knees back into your chest. Give yourself a hug. And as you move into Shavasana, our resting pose, extending your legs out, taking up as much space as you can, whether you have a lot of space or a little space, right? All the space you can on your mat. Arms extend out. For a moment, if possible, left palm to the heart, right palm onto your belly. Take a moment to thank your body, thank your breath. If you did one pose, all the poses, more than what I cued, doesn't matter. Thank yourself for showing up for you. Arms come down by your side, close the eyes, and rest. Give yourself this gift of rest. Feeling your body supported. The earth is taking care of you here. You took care of you. Practice letting go right now in this moment. Let's bring our attention back into the room and take a fresh breath in and exhale, 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 exhale out. Start to reach your arms all the way up and over the head. Good stretch. And then bend your knees, bring the soles of your feet down, and just roll over onto the right side of your body. Just rest here in what we call the fetal position for a moment. You can recall gratitude. You can just thank yourself for choosing you and carving out the time, whether you caught this live or watching the recording, right? Every time we do this self-care, what we do is we build integrity with ourselves. We tell our nervous system, I got you. No matter what's going on outside, I got you. So as you press your left palm into the earth, making your way up to sit, let's meet with the palms together, thumbs to the heart space. We bow our heads here into a prayer. This is just a gesture of honor, honoring each other and your devotion to yourself. Because when you show up for you, you can show up for others in the way that you intend. Thank you so much. Namaste. I'll see you next week. Thank you.